Germany, the European economic engine, turns sick. Does this threaten the EU in a breakup? Hello, this is Chart GPT today. While we have a lot of the Ukrainian war has had a lot of impact financially on the EU as well as the United States, as well as some of the other conflicts around the world, and it is having an effect on trade, economic growth, etc., 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 along with the inflation after COVID. So the thing we point out here is that the German economy is contracting in the third quarter, and it's basically in a recession. Taking a look at some kind of a longer term chart here, it has been kind of fluctuating around. Obviously the COVID dip there in 2020, and it kind of a rebound in 2021, but you can see that for 2023, for the entire year, it's going to be negative. And you look at the gray was the original, and they've reforecasted under the new forecast, and it's another half point lower. And of course next year they reduced it as well, under 1%. It's near zero, so it's either stagnant or declining. And of course this has been a huge change from the past, because in the EU it's the German growth that's basically powering the whole EU, basically paying for the lesser states. Well, can that continue? Will that force the Germans to back out, or will that force a lot of the other countries to be asked to pay more money to back out? This is the kind of the question. Taking a look at the EU itself, the PMI, this Purchasing Manufacturing Index, it's been in a slow decline ever since the COVID dip and then the rebound, and then it's been going down ever since. It's below 50, which means economic contraction. EU government debt is global, and if you look at it as a global situation there, what they're up to, 13, 14, getting close to 13.5 trillion euros. So it's growing, and it's growing exponentially. It's the same story on the ECB balance sheet. It's almost identical to the Fed, and there's over 8 trillion that they basically put onto the ECB balance sheet to stimulate the economy. So it's kind of the same story. The central banks have been acting together. Here's a trade picture ever since the COVID dip and then the rebound, and now it's just been going down the tubes. So here is another chart here. I hesitate to even show this. This is kind of a comical chart. The Eurozone inflation rate, they say, is around 2%, and it varies from country to country, but it says it's around 2%, which I think is almost comical. It's certainly not. I mean, most people that I've talked to, they see things jumping 10, 15, 20%. That's stuff that they had bought in less than a year. But even to this day, of course, they'll say, well, we're just kind of playing catch up. But hey, this year, this inflation is still hot. And then probably is signified by the ECB keeping their rates pretty high. That probably will have to decline, otherwise they're going to have even further declines in growth. I heard a report where in France only 2 out of 10 dossiers that go for mortgages on homes get approved, so 80% get rejected on their loans. So real estate is practically dead unless you pay cash, which is a whole different story. So here's the interest rate, and it's very similar, except that they haven't started their down poke in interest rates, which they'll probably will have to do, otherwise they're just going to go into further recession. But getting back to that story, this Germany is basically pays what, 33 billion-ish since 2021, so it's probably adjusted a bit from that. France is second, Italy, and then Spain. So Germany is basically paying for the states that pay in less than they receive. This is kind of when the UK was there. This is why the UK left there, kind of highlighted there in the darker color. But Germany is the one that's powering, along with that is on a percentage basis, not on whole, because Germany, Sweden's small, Netherlands, Belgium, these are smaller countries. It's basically Germany and France are the ones that are paying in and receiving less. So these are the ones that are kind of asking them, either one, they're going to have to, pony up and cause their own citizens to suffer, or force the other countries in the EU, and of course then they won't like that, so they'll want to leave. So this is going to cause the very threat of the EU project there, and so people are going to be saying who's getting more than they. Of course, there's a recent poll out here. This was done very recently here in November, and majority of the Germans, including the far right, back the EU. 87% respondents say they back Germany's continued membership, and only 10% against it. But here's the kind of the kicker here: the demographics. The demographics in Germany is horrible. You can see in 1889 they were in a growth state. 1989 it was not good, and then by the year 2000 their demographics are going to be such that they're going to have a declining demographics, and this is going to be the engine of negative growth. So there's going to have to be a question going forward: how long can Germany continue to pay for Europe? We asked that to the AI, what are the threats, and it's one of them. We'll take a look at the other threats of what the AI suggests, the problems for the EU project, and take our online poll. Will the decline of Germany threaten the Eurozone project? We shall see. Don't forget to subscribe.